There is a version of Pierce Brosnan that the world fell in love with. The tuxedo-clad spy, the jawline carved like marble, the voice that made danger sound like an invitation. For a generation, he was the ultimate fantasy, the man who seemed to enter a room as if it had been waiting for him. But behind the icon lay a life few imagined. The man inside the suit carried stories of loss, abandonment, and resilience. His stillness, his calm, and his smile were earned, shaped by experiences the camera could never capture. This is the life behind the legend. A childhood shaped by absence. Pierce Brendan Brosnan was born on May 16, 1953 in Drogheda, a small town in County Louth, Ireland. Life moved slowly there, and expectations moved even slower. His father, Thomas Brosnan, left before Pierce could remember him. His mother, May Smith, though determined, left soon after to pursue a nursing career in London, leaving him with his maternal grandparents. By the age of 1, Pierce was learning that absence could shape a life as deeply as presence. His grandparents offered warmth and kindness, but nothing could replace a mother's embrace or a father's guiding hand. Growing up displaced, when his grandparents passed away, Pierce was shuffled between relatives and family friends, each transition silently reinforcing a message: you are someone else's responsibility. He was not mistreated, but he never felt a permanent home. At St. Kieran's CBS in Navan, school offered little sanctuary. Without a fixed anchor, he became quiet and watchful, learning early that observation was safer than participation. Drawing and painting became his refuge. In those moments of escape, he discovered the power of creating a world where he could belong, even if only temporarily. Survival and art intertwined in the life of a child who felt invisible. Reunited with his mother. At age 10, Pierce's mother reappeared. She had remarried, built her nursing career, and established a new life in London. Pierce packed his few belongings and moved to a city that spoke his language but felt entirely foreign. Living with a mother he barely knew, he remained the outsider. The bond he had missed growing up could not be hurried or forced. The years of watching, waiting, and adapting had shaped him, and London demanded that he continue learning how to navigate the world on his own terms, finding small spaces of safety in a city that cared for no one in particular. The outsider at school. At 16, Pierce enrolled at the Elliott School in Putney, South London. The lessons he learned as a child, quiet observation, emotional self-sufficiency, became tools for survival in the bustling, indifferent city. He had learned not to rely on others, not to expect loyalty, and not to trust permanence. Yet this resilience was the very foundation for his future career. The young man who had always been looking in, carefully studying the world, would become the man the world couldn't stop looking at. The outsider's perspective, honed over years of displacement, became his hidden strength. Discovering the stage, London's theatre scene in the late 1960s was competitive, loud, and unforgiving. Pierce approached it cautiously, aware that every opportunity could vanish in an instant. He borrowed costumes, studied scripts, and learned discipline from the stage. Acting became a space where observation transformed into performance. The quiet boy who had survived by watching now commanded attention, channeling his inner losses into every gesture, every line. His experiences of abandonment and displacement, once sources of pain, became the depth behind the characters he embodied, allowing him to inhabit roles with authenticity that few could match. The role that defined him. Pierce Brosnan's career trajectory changed when he was cast as James Bond. The role was a dream realized, a fantasy made flesh. The tuxedo, the charm, the danger, all of it aligned perfectly with the persona he projected. But even as the world adored him, his private life was marked by unseen struggles. Loss and grief lingered quietly behind the scenes. Bond's composure mirrored his own earned calm. Every suave smile and poised stance carried echoes of personal history, of a man who had endured more than audiences could imagine and emerged with dignity intact. Loss and resilience. Life continued to test him. The love of his life was taken too soon, and later his daughter faced the same merciless disease. The private heartache shaped him far more than any on-screen role. He faced professional setbacks as well, including losing opportunities that seemed destined for him. Yet Pierce's response was never bitterness. It was a quiet, steadfast determination. He learned that loss, while painful, could deepen strength. His calm demeanor, once mistaken for effortless charm, was the product of decades of survival, reflection, and the courage to continue despite repeated heartbreak. The quiet power of stillness. What set Pierce Brosnan apart was not merely his iconic image, but the stillness behind it. The composure was authentic, the confidence hard-earned. The smile carried stories, the voice a resonance formed in the crucible of experience. He understood invisibility and longing, and he knew how to transform them into presence. The young boy who felt unmoored in Ireland, the teen navigating London's indifference, and the adult facing profound personal loss all contributed to the poise that became synonymous with Bond. This depth of character made him compelling not only as a movie star, but as a human being. Art and escape. Throughout his life, art remained both a refuge and a compass. Drawing, painting, and creative expression allowed him to process emotions too complex for words. It was not merely a hobby, but a means of survival, a way to inhabit a world where he could exist on his own terms. The stage, the screen, and the canvas became avenues for self-definition, helping him reconcile a childhood of impermanence with a career of public acclaim. Through art, he discovered that expression and observation could coexist, and that personal trauma could be transformed into empathetic power in performance. Finding home in unexpected places. Despite a childhood defined by displacement, Pierce eventually discovered forms of home and belonging in unexpected ways. Friendship, mentorship, and later family offered anchors. He learned that family is not only biological, it is also the people who remain when everything else fades. His journey from a lonely Irish boy to an internationally adored actor reflects both resilience and the human capacity for hope. The losses endured were real, but so were the connections that followed. The home he sought all his life was not a single place, but the constellation of relationships and experiences that gave life meaning. A legacy beyond the screen. Brosnan's story is often reduced to cinematic iconography, the tuxedo, the gadgets, the charm. Yet the true legacy lies in the humanity beneath the legend. Every role he played carried fragments of his life, a subtle echo of endurance and empathy. The public's admiration, while sincere, often overlooked the depth of struggle that created the persona they loved. Understanding the man behind the image reveals a story not just of stardom, but of survival, creativity, and the profound resilience required to transform personal tragedy into something meaningful, visible, and inspiring. The boy who became Bond. Ultimately, Pierce Brosnan's journey illustrates that who we are is inseparable from what we have endured. The boy who was abandoned, moved between homes, and learned to survive quietly, became the man who commanded attention effortlessly. The calm, the presence, and the charm were all forged in adversity. Each experience of loss added to the depth of his performances, allowing him to inhabit roles with authenticity that transcended mere acting. The world saw James Bond, but the man behind it carried a story of resilience, artistry, and a lifetime spent seeking and ultimately finding a home within himself and those he loved. Conclusion: triumph through adversity. Pierce Brosnan's life reminds us that public success often conceals private battles. Behind every celebrated smile and iconic role lies a narrative of struggle, perseverance, and emotional fortitude. He transformed childhood displacement, personal loss, and professional setbacks into a presence that captivated millions. The quiet resilience, earned stillness, and empathetic depth made him more than a movie star. They made him human, relatable, and enduring. His story is not simply about fame. It is about the triumph of a boy who learned to survive, the transformation of adversity into art, and the enduring search for belonging that defined his life.